Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're jumping into a really fascinating stage. Toddlers, right around 19 to 21 months old.
Yeah, it's often called the I do it
Mm.
phase or maybe the identity phase. It's quite something.
Exactly. And we've got some great source material here, insights drawn from months1921.pdf to sort of guide us.
Hmm.
So our mission basically is to unpack what's really going on developmentally, what you might be seeing, day to day.
And maybe how to navigate it all,
Mm.
because it can feel like a lot sometimes.
Absolutely. It's a time of huge change. So where should we start? Maybe with what's developing?
Good plan.
Hmm.
Physically, there's a lot happening. Their balance, for instance.
Right. You see it when they run. They're getting steadier, maybe kicking a ball with
Uh,
a bit more intention.
Yeah, exactly. And stairs, maybe with some help, but definitely more coordinated climbing.
Oh, and the dancing. Those uninhibited toddler dance moves really start coming out.
They do. And it's not just cute, right? It's tied to that growing physical confidence. It helps them explore more.
Makes sense. What about fine motor skills, those little hands?
Getting much more adept. Turning knobs, that's a big one. Using a spoon,
Yeah.
maybe still messy, but better control.
Okay.
Stacking blocks, too. You might see them managing 4, 5, maybe even 6 blocks. That shows real dexterity developing.
And scribbling. Does that change?
Yeah, it starts to look less random,
Mm.
more purposeful, like they're actually trying to make marks. These skills are really key for, their independence later on.
And language. Wow. That feels like where things really explode.
Oh, absolutely. Vocabulary can jump significantly, maybe 20 words up to 50, or even more for some kids.
But the huge thing is putting two words together, isn't it?
That's the game changer. More juice. Go car. Suddenly they can express like actual thoughts and needs.
Hmm.
It's not just naming things anymore.
It's the start of real conversation.
Exactly. And remember, their understanding receptive language is often racing ahead too.
So they understand more than they can say.
Often, yes. They get the purpose of things, like comb for hair. They might start sorting things, maybe animals versus cars. And imitation. They'll copy everyday things you do. So watch how they respond to language, not just what they say.
Okay, good point. Socially, emotionally.
Yeah.
Sounds like a bit of a mixed bag.
It really is. You might see these like little flashes of early empathy, but also
Yeah.
huge frustration.
Because they can't communicate what they want.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or they don't understand something.
Right.
And that drive for independence is so strong now.
I do it.
That's the one. They might even start labeling feelings, in simple ways. Sad, happy is the beginning of self-awareness, really.
What about sleep? Any changes there?
Usually settling into one nap by now,
Yeah.
and maybe 10 to 12 hours overnight, ideally.
What?
But their imagination's also taking flight. Dreams might start becoming more vivid, maybe even influencing sleep.
Ah, so fear of the dark, maybe some night waking. Could be linked to that.
It could be, yeah. Their inner world is getting richer, more complex. Sleep can reflect that.
So pulling it together, it's this strong desire for control, that I do it thing.
Yep.
But they still really need our help to manage feelings, understand things, what you called co-regulation.
Precisely. They need our calm support to navigate all these big feelings and changes. They can't do it alone yet.
And that tension fuels a lot of what's changing now, right?
Absolutely. That language leap continues. Beyond two-word phrases, many start understanding, maybe even following, simple multi-step directions.
Like, get your shoes and bring them here.
Something like that, yeah. And pretend play. It just blossoms.
Oh, yeah. Feeding teddy bears, talking on a toy phone.
Mimicking chores, maybe trying to help sweep. It's how they process the world, try on different roles.
And self-awareness really kicks in, too.
Definitely. Recognizing themselves in photos, mirrors, started to use their name or me. That sense of being a separate person is solidifying.
Which is amazing, but can also lead to friction. The source mentioned more tantrums.
It's common, think about it. Strong will, developing language, huge emotions they don't understand yet.
Right, the gap between what they want and what they can express or do. That's a recipe for a meltdown.
Exactly.
It's tough for them.
So while all this is changing, what needs to stay the same? What provides that stability they need?
Routine, structure, predictability. Those are gold. They absolutely thrive on knowing what comes next.
Still so important.
Crucial. And learning. Still happens best through repetition and imitation. We are their main models.
Right, watching us, copying us.
And when those big feelings hit, they still rely heavily on us for co-regulation. Our calm helps them find theirs.
And things like clinginess or separation anxiety might pop up again. even with this push for independence.
Yes, especially around tricky times like bedtime or transitions. It's a reminder they still need that secure base, that reassurance from us, even as they venture out.
Okay, that makes sense. So let's talk practical tools. How can we support them through this I do it phase, starting with language?
Great idea. Picture books are fantastic, especially ones about feelings, animals, daily routines, things they recognize, and songs, especially ones with actions.
Oh yeah, songs with movements are brilliant. They combine language, motor skills, and repetition. Really engaging.
And actively naming their feelings. You mentioned that earlier.
So powerful.
Yeah.
Instead of just stop crying, try, you sound really sad because playtime is over. It's okay to feel sad.
It gives them the words for the feeling.
Exactly, and validates it. Also, simple turn-taking in conversation, even if it's just pausing, waiting for a sound or a word back from them.
It teaches that back and forth rhythm.
Right. Shows them their attempts matter. Now, something really important the source highlights is the variability in language development.
Ah, yes, the comparison trap. It's easy to fall into.
So easy. But we need to remember, receptive language understanding often zooms ahead of expressive language speaking.
So they might understand way more complex sentences than they can actually produce.
Definitely. Look for those nonverbal signs, pointing when you name something, following simple instructions, making different sounds. Those are all progress.
Good reminders. What about bilingual kids?
They might start speaking a bit later in one or both languages, but often show good understanding in both. Their brains are doing incredible work juggling multiple systems.
And that echoing thing, where they repeat the last word you say?
Echolalia. Totally normal.
Mm.
It's how they practice the sounds and rhythm of speech, part of the learning process.
Okay. Now, the no phase. Let's tackle that one.
Yes. The big no. It can feel really defiant.
But it's not always about pushing back against us personally, is it?
Often, no. It's about them realizing they can say no. They have a preference, an opinion. It's practicing autonomy.
Finding their voice.
Exactly. So the trick is finding ways to let them have that no within safe boundaries.
Like, you don't have to wear the green shirt, but you need to choose either the red or the blue one.
Sort of. Or maybe you don't want more peas. Okay, but dinner's finished now. Acknowledge the no, but hold the limit.
Okay. And this seems like a prime time for more involved pretend play toys.
Absolutely. Dress-up stuff, little kitchens or tool sets, doctor kits, dolls or animals with little beds or bottles.
Things that let them act out real life.
Exactly. And it's not just fun. The cognitive benefits are huge. Symbolic play boosts language, memory, understanding sequences.
Empathy too, right?
Yeah.
Taking on different roles.
Yes. Big time. So try asking open-ended questions during their play, like, oh, what's the baby doing now? Rather than telling them what to do.
Encourages their ideas.
Right. And speaking of independence, we can give them little jobs they can actually do.
Like putting their own cup in the sink or helping put shoes away.
Perfect examples. Throwing away a tissue, trying to brush teeth with help, choosing between two snacks. Small wins build big confidence.
Okay. Transitions, those can be tough. Moving from one activity to the next.
Yeah, often a trigger point. So strategies help. Countdowns are great. 5 more minutes of playing, then we clean up.
Giving them a heads up.
Exactly. Visual timers can work well too, or simple routine charts and consistent little rituals.
Like after we clean up, we always sing the cleanup song, then we read a book.
Perfect. That predictability makes the shift much smoother.
What about repetition, when they want the same book, the same game, over and over and over?
Totally normal. It might drive us nuts, but for them, it's about mastery and security.
They're reinforcing the learning.
Exactly. They're figuring out how things work, confirming their understanding. Repetition builds that sense of predictability and trust in their world.
Okay, let's talk boundaries. Gentle boundary setting. It sounds lovely, but what does it actually mean? It's not just letting them do whatever they want, right?
Not at all. That's permissiveness, which isn't helpful either. Gentle boundaries mean being clear, firm, and kind. It's absolutely okay, necessary, even to say no to unsafe things, hitting, biting.
So the limit is firm.
The limit is firm, but the delivery is respectful. Toddlers actually need and thrive on knowing where the lines are, even if they protest.
Even if they have a meltdown about it.
Especially then sometimes. And remember, we model. How we handle the boundary shows them how to handle limits themselves.
The source had a good example. Something like, you're feeling really mad, I see that, but we don't hit. Let's stomp our feet instead.
Exactly. Acknowledge the feeling, state the clear limit, offer an acceptable alternative. That's gentle boundary setting in action.
Okay. Now, shifting gears slightly, what to watch for. Are there specific developmental milestones we should be aware of around this age?
Yeah, the source lists a few things that, if you're not seeing them, might warrant a chat with a doctor or developmental specialist.
Like vocabulary,
Hmm.
not using at least 20 words or starting to combine any words by 21 months.
Right. Or not imitating actions or facial expressions, not pointing to show you things or responding to simple instructions.
What else? Lack of engagement.
Yeah, seeming uninterested in caregivers or toys. And physically, maybe not walking steadily, tripping a lot more than usual.
And the point here isn't to panic, right?
Not at all. It's about
Mhm.
support. A developmental check-in around 20 months or so is just about catching things early if there's a delay, so support can be put in place. Early help makes a huge difference.
Okay, good to know. What about things to avoid? Common pitfalls for parents during this stage.
Overcorrecting language is a big one we already touched on. Gently modeled the correct way instead of saying, that's wrong.
So if they say, I run fast, you just say, wow, you ran fast.
Exactly. Also, trying to punish tantrums often backfires. Focus on safety, stay calm, label the feeling. Timeouts aren't usually effective for this age.
They don't understand the connection yet.
Right. And avoid overloading their schedule. Downtime is crucial for toddlers to process and decompress.
They get overwhelmed easily.
Very easily.
Uh.
And finally, potty training. Don't force it just because they seem curious. Wait for genuine signs of readiness, staying dry longer, showing interest consistently, being able to communicate needs.
Patience is key there.
Definitely. Okay, so let's zoom in on some really key themes that pop up strongly now. Sense of self and identity is huge.
The mind phase.
That's part of it. Mine, my toy. And that constant, I do it. It's all about asserting ownership and agency.
And developing strong preferences, suddenly only wanting the yellow cup.
Yep. And resistance to change in routines.
Mhm.
It's all them figuring out who they are and what they like.
So offering those limited structured choices we talked about can help. Gives them some control.
Exactly. This snack or that snack. It honors their need for autonomy within helpful limits.
Another theme. Cause and effect. They're really exploring that now.
Oh, yeah. Dropping the spoon off the high chair again and again.
To see what happens.
Right. They're testing responses, figuring out if I do X, then Y happens. It's like they're little scientists.
And those emotional power surges, we
Yeah.
keep coming back to them.
Because they're so central to this age, meltdowns happen. Triggered by frustration, not getting their way, being tired or overstimulated, transitions.
So the approach is comfort, boundaries, and language. Not lectures.
Absolutely no lectures. They can't process them then. Just simple comfort, clear limits if needed, and naming the feeling, wow, you are really upset right now. It's hard when we had to leave the park.
And maybe helping them take a breath. Let's take a deep breath together.
Perfect. And we can actually start teaching simple coping tools.
Really? At this age?
Simple ones, yes.
Right.
Breathing games like smell the flower or blow out the candle. Using feelings charts or books to identify emotions.
Maybe setting up a cozy corner. A quiet space they can go to.
A great idea. Or having a sensory bin with calming things like rice or Play-Doh available for quiet time. Giving them tools for self-regulation, even basic ones.
Okay, let's think about the caregiver mindset through all this. It sounds like a shift in perspective is helpful.
Hugely. It's not a battle of wills. It's guiding a tiny human who is figuring out how to be a human.
Seeing it as guiding their becoming, not winning a fight.
Exactly. And remember, even the seemingly brave or independent toddler still needs tons of reassurance. Confidence doesn't mean they don't need you.
Good point. And it's okay to set boundaries, but also okay to adjust if something just isn't working.
Yes. Be flexible. Observe your child. What works for one might not work for another, or might stop working. It's okay to tweak your approach. We're learning too.
And that reminder about developmental pace. Everyone is different. Not hitting a milestone exactly on time doesn't mean failure.
So important to internalize that. It's a journey, not a race.
The source also mentioned things caregivers might be dealing with, new routines like daycare, maybe parent preference phases.
Oh, the dreaded mommy only or daddy only phase. Yes.
And feeling judged by others sometimes.
That too. It's all normal. You're not alone if you're navigating those things.
I love the idea of a toddler affirmation game.
Isn't that sweet? Just simple things, maybe after a tough moment or before bed. You are kind. You are strong. You are learning. Building them up.
Really lovely. Okay, finally, there were some reflection prompts for listeners.
Yeah, just things to mull over, like
Yeah.
what truly brings your toddler joy right now? What makes their eyes light up?
What boundary are you working on holding more clearly? That's a good one for us.
Yeah. How are you balancing structure and freedom day to day?
And maybe just what are you noticing about their unique personality? What little quirks and traits are emerging?
Taking that moment to observe and appreciate the individual they're becoming.
So, if we wrap this up, the key takeaway seems to be that 1921 months is this incredibly dynamic time. Huge leaps in independence, that sense of self really starting to form.
It really is. So our encouragement is just to watch them, notice the small things, celebrate those little steps forward, maybe with some of these insights in mind.
And maybe a final thought to leave people with. Think about your own journey with independence and identity. It's a lifelong process, isn't it?
It really is. And seeing it in our toddlers, well, it gives you a whole new perspective on your own past, too.